quiet town of Willow Creek, where trust was second nature, a beloved teacher's death shattered everything. Was it a tragic accident or the first move in a deadly cover-up? As investigators dig deeper, they uncover a web of betrayal, lies, and dark secrets hidden beneath the town's perfect facade. This is not just a crime, it's the beginning of a chilling conspiracy. Welcome to Echoes of a Crime. In the picturesque town of Willow Creek, where the loudest noise on a weekday was the school bell at Middleton High, the death of Mrs. Laura Whitmore felt like a tear in the town's very fabric. Laura was not just a teacher, she was the teacher, the one who stayed late tutoring students, who bought supplies out of her own pocket, who remembered every student's birthday. So when her body was found sprawled at the bottom of the school's grand staircase one rainy Thursday evening, the town plunged into collective grief. At first, police ruled it a tragic accident. The stairs were slick with rainwater. Perhaps she slipped. That's what everyone told themselves, at least at first. But then the whispers started. Her classroom door had been ajar long after hours. A light had been left on, and someone, an unknown figure, had been seen on the security cameras entering the school shortly after Laura. But there was no footage of them leaving. The police dismissed it as a technical glitch. The town tried to move on. But Willow Creek had secrets, and Laura Whitmore had been holding too many of them. A week after Laura's funeral, an anonymous letter arrived at the Willow Creek Gazette. The letter was typed in block font, no return address, no fingerprints. Just one chilling line. Mrs. Whitmore knew too much. Her death was no accident. The police were forced to reopen the case. Detective Evan Hart, a man who'd grown up in Willow Creek and hated the idea that his hometown could be tainted with real evil, took the lead. His first stop, Laura's classroom. Room 212 had always been a second home to her students. Posters of classic literature lined the walls. Desks were arranged in tidy rows. Nothing seemed out of place, until Evan noticed something odd behind her desk. A small locked drawer, one the school's maintenance team claimed that they hadn't been able to open. When they finally forced it open, inside was a leather-bound journal. Laura's journal. Its entries were a far cry from the cheerful, put-together persona she showed the world. March 2nd, I'm scared. I know what I saw. If I tell anyone, it could ruin lives. But staying silent feels just as wrong. April 10th, the threats keep coming. Notes in my car, in my mailbox. Whoever it is, they want me quiet. May 5th. I'm meeting with him tomorrow after school. He says we can fix this before it gets worse. God, I hope I can trust him. Detective Hart froze at the last entry. Meeting with him? Who was he? As Hart dug deeper, he found more alarming details. Several students had noticed Laura acting strangely in the weeks leading up to her death. She was more paranoid, jumping at loud noises, locking her classroom door during lessons. The investigation widened. Teachers were questioned. Students interviewed. Skeletons started tumbling out of closets. Laura had been helping a student, Brady Jensen, whose father, Darren Jensen, happened to be the president of the Willow Creek School Board. Brady had confided to her that his father was embezzling school funds, a scheme involving fake invoices and ghost employee collecting paychecks. Laura had been gathering evidence, planning to expose him once the school year ended. But someone must have found out, and someone decided Laura Whitmore had to be silenced. A second letter arrived at the Gazette a few days later. This one contained a riddle. The snake hides where knowledge sleeps. Follow the roots, find the rot. It sounded cryptic, until Detective Hart realized where knowledge sleeps could refer to the school library. Hidden behind rows of dusty encyclopedias, they found an old maintenance panel, and tucked behind it, a flash drive wrapped in a crumpled school map. The drive contained damning evidence, financial records, email chains, even photos of Darren Jensen signing off on falsified accounts. The case against him was growing stronger, but then something even more disturbing surfaced. Security footage from the night of Laura's death had been reviewed again, frame by frame. A shadowy figure could be seen following her up the staircase. The image was blurry, but the silhouette was unmistakably tall and broad-shouldered, not Darren Jensen, who was thin and wiry. Someone else had been there. Someone they hadn't even suspected. The town buzzed with rumors. Was it another member of the school board? A jealous colleague? A spurned lover? Then a student came forward, a shy, bookish girl named Emma Caldwell. Emma tearfully confessed that on the day Laura died, she saw someone leaving room 212 around 7:30 p.m. Someone wearing a Letterman jacket. The only problem? Brady Jensen, the student Laura was trying to help, wore a Letterman jacket, and he'd gone suspiciously silent since the investigation reopened. Detective Hart paid him a visit. Brady seemed nervous, his hands trembling as he denied everything. But in his bedroom, buried under clothes in his closet, they found Laura's missing lanyard, the one she always wore with her school ID. Why would Brady have it? Had he confronted Laura that night? Had a confrontation turned deadly? Hart wasn't convinced Brady had it in him to commit murder, but maybe he didn't act alone. As Hart pieced it together, a darker theory began to form. What if Brady hadn't killed Laura, but had been forced to help cover it up? The town of Willow Creek, once so serene, now simmered with unease. Secrets were oozing from every corner. Long-held alliances were fracturing, and someone out there, someone still hidden, was willing to kill to keep their secrets buried. The final piece fell into place the following Friday. Another anonymous letter arrived, not at the Gazette this time, but at Detective Hart's own desk. It was just 3 chilling words. "You're next, Hart." And taped to the back of the letter was a Polaroid, a blurry image of Detective Hart's young daughter playing in their front yard. Detective Evan Hart stared at the Polaroid for what felt like hours, his blood turning to ice. His daughter, Lily, just 7 years old, was playing on their front lawn, smiling, innocent. Whoever had sent the letter knew where Hart lived. They knew how to hurt him. He immediately arranged protection for Lily and his wife, but the message was clear. Stop digging, or there would be consequences. But Evan Hart was not a man who backed down from bullies, especially not ones hiding behind threats. He dove back into Laura Whitmore's case with renewed fury. The more he investigated, the clearer the picture became. Brady Jensen wasn't the murderer. He was a pawn, manipulated and terrified into silence. Late one night, under heavy protection and a promise of immunity, Brady confessed the truth. "She didn't fall," Brady said, voice cracking. "She was pushed." "By who?" Hart asked, leaning forward. Brady hesitated, then whispered a name that rocked Hart to his core. Principal Robert Green. It all made horrific sense. Green had been close to Darren Jensen for years. It was Principal Green who approved the fake hires. It was Green who turned a blind eye as money disappeared from the school's budget. And when Laura Whitmore threatened to expose everything, Green decided to protect himself the only way he knew how. Brady had accidentally witnessed Green confronting Laura that night. Laura threatened to go public. Green shoved her. A moment of rage, a tragic accident, and then staged the scene to look like a simple fall. But Green wasn't finished. To cover his tracks, he intimidated Brady into silence, using the one thing Brady cared about: his mother, who worked 2 jobs to support him and was vulnerable to losing her position at the school if scandal erupted. Detective Hart knew he had enough to arrest Green, but when he and his team stormed Green's home early the next morning, they found it empty. Green was gone, vanished without a trace. In his abandoned study, taped to the underside of his desk, they found a final note: "Rot runs deep and roots grow wide." It wasn't over, not by a long shot. The town of Willow Creek was thrown into chaos as news of Green's guilt spread. Parents pulled their children out of Middleton High. Investigations into the entire school board began. Darren Jensen was arrested soon after, facing a mountain of financial fraud charges. And yet, something still gnawed at Detective Hart. There was one detail Brady had mentioned that wouldn't leave his mind. The night Laura died, he remembered hearing 2 voices in the stairwell, not just Green's. Another man. Someone else had been there. 3 weeks later, a new witness came forward. Janice Cole, the school's longtime librarian. She revealed that in the weeks before Laura's death, Laura had scheduled a series of late-night meetings. Not just with Brady, not just with Green, but with a third person. Vice Principal Richard Holloway. The quiet, unassuming administrator who always blended into the background. The man no one had even considered a suspect. Under pressure, Holloway crumbled. He admitted he'd known about the embezzlement all along, and more. Green hadn't acted alone. There was a whole network. Members of the school board, key administrators, even local politicians. They funneled school money into personal bank accounts, masked by fake projects and expenses. Laura Whitmore had discovered everything. She had to be silenced, Holloway said. And if Green hadn't pushed her, someone else would have. Green had fled, but he hadn't gone far. Holloway revealed a secret cabin the conspirators used for meetings, a place hidden deep in the woods outside of town. Hart and his team raced there, hoping to catch Green before he disappeared forever. The cabin was abandoned, almost. Inside, they found a wall covered in photographs, news clippings, and handwritten notes. It was a hit list. Laura's name had been at the top. Detective Evan Hart's name was circled in red, and there, pinned next to it, a chilling message. Phase 2 begins. The case against the corrupt officials would drag on for months, even years. Families were torn apart, the town's image was shattered, but Green was never found. Some say he fled the country, some believe he died, lost in the woods. Others whisper that he still lurks in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to finish what he started. As for Detective Hart, he moved his family out of Willow Creek, unable to shake the feeling that someone was always watching. Sometimes when he tucks Lily into bed, he still finds anonymous letters slipped under the door. No threats anymore, just a single line handwritten, "Remember the roots."